Hey all, welcome to ShareTreck. This is Raj here. Friends, thanks for joining me this morning, the 8th of January, 2026. And I'm going to take you straight to our TradingView platform and just give you a brief idea of my state of mind this morning. What I read basically is that the economic data that's going to come up next is something that's keeping the investors guessing. That's why we are a little flat to negative in the pre-morning session. And also the seized Venezuela tankers and the arrangements that's being made is causing the markets to think a little bit about what's going to happen next. That's the summary of what we are seeing. I also think that we are at very elevated levels, close to all-time highs. And with so much of geopolitical and other risks present, it's time to do a little bit of a consolidation. And if you recollect last year, I was quite bearish for the last 4 months of 2025. It did not do me much good, but I think that we are now in a situation where probably those bearishness should come to manifest. But I'm also taking longs. For example, my strategy of buying NVDA towards the end of the day and selling it in the morning before 10 o'clock, that has been working well for me. I have made some profits out there, and I'm continuing to look at that play. I've also entered into Tempest AI, and I'm thinking that gold again is going to provide a good opportunity to dollar cost average as we wait for the next up move. So with that said, let's go and have a look at S&P 500 out here, and you would see that we have topped off and we have a support at 6,929, which seems to be giving us a really good support. This morning we are down 0.19% in pre-market trades, and I can see that the market sentiment is still bullish, though it's tapering towards neutral. MACD is bullish but turning toward the signal line towards the bearish side. And we have got the momentum, which is dropping, though it is above average. So at this point of time, it's in a wait and watch situation. No clear signs of bullishness or bearishness. Likewise for NASDAQ. NASDAQ has been bearish, but it's tending towards neutral. MACD is bullish and momentum is tending towards average. Again, we have a head and shoulder pattern out here, which I think may or may not persist depending on how this progresses further. I would have probably taken up the excuse that, okay, we had a double dip out here in the left shoulder. So if we have double dip in the right shoulder, that's fine. But as we proceed every next day, I think that kind of a conclusion is not tenable anymore, and therefore I think I would become a little more careful about NASDAQ, despite whatever I might feel personally from a bearish perspective. Dollar index is continuing to pick up, and we have the VIX, which is continuing to grow. In the past, we have started with elevated VIX, and then we had come down, so we had a bunch of red candles. But yesterday, we started low and we went high on the VIX. Today, we are gapping up on the VIX, and instead of becoming a red candle, this is still green, which means that we open lower and we are going higher. The sentiment of the market is also improving on the bullish side for VIX, which is not good for us. MACD is also improved on the bullish side for the VIX, which again indicates a spike in VIX, which is not good for us. Momentum has just crossed average. All of those things indicate that there is a probability that we are going up, and the thing that's going to stop us from going up further is going to be a resistance today at around 17.25, and anytime we go above 20, that's where things start getting a little bit jittery. Now, if you look at gold, gold is down and it's coming towards a support that it has. And for today, the support is around 4,405. I would be carefully watching whether we bounce off this support. And if you look at the amount of touch points on this support, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And after 8, we broke down and we then came back up again. So I would restart the count. This is the first one. So we got to bounce back up again, and then we'll have a resistance. And for today, the resistance is at 4570.48. If we break down from here, then the lesson I would learn is that regardless of the counts that we have had. If we had broken down once, that means that we are weak, and the second time around we're going to fall down again until we come back and confirm again. But from that perspective, if I look at this line, I'm thinking that we already confirmed this diagonal line as a support when we closed at 4495.529. So I'm more or less confident that, much more confident that we're going to bounce off this support. So I would consider this to be a dollar cost averaging for myself. And guys, remember, I'm just a retail investor and talking about my knowledge of technical analysis, which may or may not be perfect. So do your own due diligence before taking positions. Now, put call ratio is also mildly bullish to neutral. And let me go directly to indicators. Let's go to the indicators section. S&P 500. And S&P 500 has got a resistance which is going to keep us struggling to move above 6,937.18 today. That's our resistance. And our support is going to be at 6,908.59, failing which I think we would have another support at 6,891.89. Market sentiment is bullish but tending towards neutral. MACD is bullish. Momentum is above average but moving downwards. And I think the pre-market session will give us some kind of a clue for which I'm going to look at NASDAQ. NASDAQ is up 0.06% as of yesterday, but it created a bearish candle. Even though the candle is green, I would say that we tried to move up and then we were pushed down solidly. So we were not able to break out of this band of bearishness that we have out here. On the top, we have 25,703.49, and on the bottom, we have 25,621.86. So we are struggling to break out above this. Again, the top end of this is going to be a resistance for today, and the bottom end is going to be a support at 25,626.96. If we break down from that, the next support is at 25,459.38. What exactly is happening in the pre-market? QQQ says we are down 0.25% in pre-market action, which means that the NASDAQ is going to open a bit bearish. We have this bearish candle out here and we are opening below that. So the support for us today is going to be 619.17. Next, let us look at our AI stocks, and let me look at NVDA, where I'm very interested. It's up 0.28% in pre-market sessions, and we have support at 187.85, and we'll have a resistance at around 190.67. For us, the good outcome will be for us to close at 191.20 or above, so that we can have a much more bullish bias. And our market sentiment is bullish, MACD is bullish, but tending towards the signal line, towards the bearish side. But momentum is still up and above. So things are looking decent for NVIDIA this morning. Meta is down 0.42% in pre-market session. And we have support of 651.45, turning into a resistance with this price action. And yesterday we dipped below this. Today we have to see if we can confirm this as a resistance, because right now it's a confirmed support. So the chances of us going back above is higher than staying below. And if we come down, we have a support at 636.20. Market sentiment, which was bullish, is now starting to taper off. MACD is bearish. Momentum is below average. I'm still looking at this cup and handle pattern, which has still not dissolved. I'll give you a positive example of this kind of a situation when we go into the genomic side, where I have an example to show where the handle was extended for quite a while and then it broke out on the upside. Let's look at Google. Google is starting to look pretty strong to me, and it's up 1.14% in pre-market session. Even though market sentiment is stubbornly bearish, we have the improvement out here, the bull flag, now starting to move back towards 372.74. So let us see how this progresses. Pre-market, we are at 326.09, which means we are at the tip of this candle. And if we open out that, then we have other candles which may probably create a new bullish or bearish pattern, and that could guide us further. But until further guidance comes, I'm going to assume that we are moving towards 372.47. You'll also see that yesterday's price action had a huge candle out here. Volumes were high, and that indicates a lot of confidence. Now let's look at Amazon. Amazon is up 0.21% in pre-market trades. The last two trading sessions, it has been struggling to break through these resistances. So our initial resistance for today is 242.11. The next resistance is 243.01. If we break out and close above that, then the next candle for the following day is going to give us an idea of whether we confirm above it or not. And I think we are looking at the target of 244.6, which has already been met. So this reverse head and shoulder, I'm going to take this off. It need not be there. I'm going to start the habit of clearing all the unnecessary artifacts from here, so that our chart is much cleaner and we can focus on things that matter. So right now we are looking at this bull flag, potential bull flag. Any consolidation will be the flag portion forming, and the probability of breaking out on the upside remains higher. Right now our target is 242.12, which has already been met in this week, but I wouldn't be unhappy if we were to be able to make a candle body which closes above 244.83. Now let's go on to look at Apple. Apple is down 1.13%. I'm thinking whether it's a time to buy or a time to short. And I'll explain why. Are we going to bounce off this diagonal line of support, which also happens to be the neckline for a potential head and shoulder? And if we bounce off from here, then we have a resistance at 262.78. And I would say that for today, we have a support of 257.87, assuming that we bounce off. But as you can see in the pre-market action, we are already below this line. So this line of support is now becoming a line of resistance. I've changed the color. I'm going to increase the thickness so that you can see what I'm talking about. This was earlier green, and I was thinking maybe it's time to buy. If we bounce off from here, it will be a short-term buy. Remember, I'm just thinking of 1 day to 4 day time frame. But today, this morning, we already broken down below this. So this becomes a resistance at 257.87. So what I'm going to look for today is a confirmation that this has become a resistance, and then I will buy into Apple. But we also have this possibility of a dead cat bounce happening out here, because we have got the MACD, which is totally bearish, market sentiment super bearish, momentum has fallen below the 30% range of the RSI band. Therefore, there's a good chance of a dead cat bounce later today to bring us back into this diagonal line. So the way it will materialize, I think, is that at the end of the day, we may end up seeing a green candle, which has got a wick that dips below this diagonal line of support, which right now looks like a resistance. I hope you understood what I'm saying. And I'm just going to pull this out here and put this here as a question mark. Now let's look at Microsoft, which is down 0.74%. It's back into the parallel channel. And for today, it's going to get resistance at 481.70. It should get support at 478.41, failing which support at 473.02. Market sentiment is bullish, MACD is bullish, and momentum is just at average. So let's see where this leads us. Next, we look at Tesla, which is down 0.70%. And we are looking at the price right now at 428.41. So I think the next support is going to be at 423.70. That's what we are looking at. And Oracle is down 0.27%. And the market is basically thinking whether OpenAI can continue to pay for its services, and Oracle has got a lot of debts on its book. So it's a kind of consolidation play out here while while the investors contemplate that. I think we are hanging out around 196.31. That will act as a support and a restraint or restriction until we break out of this parallel channel. So I'm looking forward to us breaking out of this parallel channel so that we could probably form a platform on this consolidation and then move up on the move up and create more bullish signs. So Oracle, I think, is still suspect at this point of time. AMD is up 0.30%. I'm still holding on to my reverse cup and handle pattern thesis, and I have AMDD, and support for today is going to be 203.58 for AMD, and our resistance is going to be somewhere around 212.21, failing which we have resistance at 214.52. Market sentiment continues to be bearish. I'm still negative on SMCI. The question out here for me with regard to SMCI is Are we watching for a higher volume out here on the red candles? If that happens and price drops with higher candles, bigger candles, then I would definitely say that we are falling downwards and we are moving downwards. This is a bear flag that we had, for which we have a target which is much deeper, and I could be more confident that we are going to break down below 28.95, which is where I'm going at right now. We have a descending triangle or a descending wedge, and market sentiment is bullish, MACD is bullish, but tending towards the signal line. Momentum is the story. Momentum says that we are weak and we are falling, so there is no conviction with the price action. I'm looking forward to the price action dropping below 28.98. I have SMCZ, which I continue to hold. And AVGO, Broadcom, is the next one. It's down 0.61%. It's continuing to get support on this dynamic line of support. Today, the support is at 339.73. Yesterday, it was 339.47. And the day before, it was at 338.68. So this support continues to keep on moving up. Yesterday, we had an indecision doji candle with equal size wicks on both sides. The day before also, we had a doji candle with a wick equal on both sides of the body, but the body was very narrow. So the volatility is increasing a little bit out here. Market sentiment bearish, MACD bearish, momentum below average. So I am thinking that ultimately we're going to break down below this diagonal line of support. Now let's look at Palantir, which is up 2.41% in pre-market trade. It's going to have a resistance at 189.32, and it will continue to get support at 181.80. And then we are looking at SMH, which is really a big story out here. We managed to spike up. This morning we are down 0.07%, and we have formed the candle body yesterday, which is within the candle of the previous day. This is kind of a bearish kind of a setup. So I'm thinking that we are going to test a support. Our initial support is going to be at 381.94. Then the next is going to be 377.72. Market sentiment is bullish, MACD is bullish, momentum is above average. So that department is looking pretty good, but that's likely to change when we open this morning. So let's see what happens next. I bought into Tempus AI yesterday because I am thinking that our bounce back was pretty good, and we have a resistance at around 70.68. And I was thinking yesterday that we are most likely to break above the resistance because the volumes have been pretty good. And I'm looking at it today. Right now, my position is negative. It's in the red, but I'm going to hold on for today. And this year, my motto is that my stop loss has to be respected. I'm going to sell if it goes below a particular level, book the losses, and wait for something positive to happen. So that's where I am at. This candle which was formed yesterday was bearish. Ideally, I shouldn't have entered this, but I bought it around the aftermarket hours. So let's see how that goes for me. Next, I'm going to move on to genomics. And in genomics, let us look at Pfizer, which continues to... I'm still looking at this cup and handle pattern and saying that there is still possibility for us. This morning, we are down 0.08%. Let's look at Prime. Now, Prime had a Prime had a head and shoulder pattern that we were tracking, but then we bounced off. So we have this diagonal line of support, which is still active. This morning, we are up 0.25% in pre-market trades, and I think our resistance is now going to be 4.24, and support is now going to be coming in at around 3.97. Pre-market, we are at 4.05. Intelia is up 4.44%. It's very top of this candle, which was a bearish candle, even though it is green. It was pushed down, but a lot of buyer enthusiasm is out there. So we may have a lot of resistance at 10.74. Right now, we are at 10.58. So that is the resistance that we are looking at. For you to conceptualize, I'm going to just put it out here and say that this is our resistance. If we break out above this, then we are going to do the gap fill, and our resistance will then be at 12.32. I'm going to put the resistance out there. First resistance out here, and the second resistance is out there. So the first resistance is 11.78. And I think that Intelia is looking pretty good. Caribou Biosciences is flat in pre-market trades. It's going to get a resistance at 1.84. Beam Therapeutics is the story where we have this cup and handle pattern, which was consolidating. We had this bull flag, which we have broken out of this bull flag. And therefore, I'm going to put a target out here. I'm going to take the bull flag all the way from here to here. Oh, we already have that. So just let me take this yellow line from here and place it out here. So I'm looking at a target of around 34.47 for Beam Therapeutics. That's going to be our target, 34.47. Then let's look at Altimmune, which is down 0.95% in pre-market trades. Resistance is 4.39. Support is going to be 4.00. All the indicators are bearish for Altimmune, but momentum is improving and MACD is also improving, and market sentiment is also slowly improving, even though they're all in bearish territory. Veritas is up 0.93% in pre-market trades. Resistance continues to be 2.37. Illumina, it's moving very close to our target of 151.99. Pre-market is at 150.01. I would be happy if our prediction of 151. What's the prediction out here? It's 152.37. So if we touch 152.37, I'm going to be very happy. So that's what I think is going to be the target today. CRISPR Therapeutics is down 0.79% in pre-market trades. And we had a head and shoulder pattern, reverse head and shoulder pattern, which gave us a target of 60.55. We exceeded the target and we came back down. Now, we are still not able to create the candle body which closes above 60.59. So that's what I'm going to be watching for. And for that purpose, I'm going to consider this to be a flagpole starting all the way from 52.52 to around, I would say, 58.76. So I'm looking at consolidation forming out here to create the flag body. We have the flagpole. We need the flag body to happen, and the flag body can come downwards and touch the support at 56.35 before breaking out. That's okay. So that's what I'm looking at out here. Market sentiment is bullish, MACD bullish, momentum above average. So the chances of us forming a flag is pretty good in here. And Allogene is up 0.67% in pre-market trades, and we had a target of around 1.66, and I'm going to remove this target from there. We're just looking at the formation of new patterns. We don't have a clear-cut pattern out here to show where we are going. The head and shoulder pattern has already been met. As you can see, the wick has already pierced that. So I'm going to remove this. I'm going to start the discipline of clearing out unwanted patterns so that our chart is much clearer and we are not confused. So I'm just quickly doing the housekeeping task of removing some of our earlier patterns which are no longer valid, which did not materialize or materialized and they are over. So now with the clear perspective, if we look at it, then we can see that we have got, let me go to this one. So let us take a arc. So if I do an arc, pull it down here. So we have a cup and handle pattern in my opinion. And this cup and handle pattern should have a target provided it breaks out above the neckline. And let me draw the neckline for you. I'm going to connect this and say this is our neckline. We breached it momentarily and we could break it out again. And if we break out from there, then I would be very happy to point some kind of a target, which will be phenomenal for Allogene if that happens. And the stock price is also very low. Market sentiment is improving, MACD is improving, momentum is also above average and moving up. So this is something to watch. In the past, I would have bought it right now. But right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch for it to break out of the neckline, confirm the neckline by coming back, touching it once again, and then moving upwards. And then I'll put the target. So that's what I'm thinking for Allogene. Grail is moving towards our target, which was of 115.62. And right now, it gets a new impetus. I'm going to remove this line and I'm going to put a new line out here. And the new line is going to be showing double bottom. And I'm going to put a new line out here. And this new line is going to be showing the neckline for this double bottom. Let me just pull this out here. So this is the neckline for this double bottom. So if this was the neckline, so I'm looking at a target of around 103.69. Pre-market, we are at 103.30. So I think in the past we already met that target and come back down. And today we have to see if we create any consolidation pattern out here, which can give us a bull flag. That's what I'm looking forward to. And then in this case also, I'm going to remove all the past artifacts from here, which are no longer relevant, and keep only the latest ones. Next, let us look at PACB. PACB is forming a wedge pattern. And are we going to break out of this wedge pattern today? I don't know. But for today, the resistance is 2.15 pre-market. We are at 2.11, down 0.94%. And we'll get initial support at 2.07, and then at 2.01, and then finally at 1.94. That said, let's look at ARCG. This is the pattern that I was talking about, where the cup and handle pattern extended for a duration and then went up. Another way of looking at this could also be that we are looking at a bull flag starting from here and going all the way up here and tapering downwards and then breaking out. Whichever way you look at it, I have a target out here of 37.2, which is what I think we are moving towards. Pre-market, we are down 1%. We are at 31.77. So what would I look at next? I would look at the confirmation of the neckline. We already got the confirmation of the neckline yesterday because we closed above 31.61. So in my opinion, ARCG looks strong, which again translates to genomic sector looking stronger. Whatever may be the reason, that's what the charts are telling us. Vertex is down 0.81, but it's firmly above this diagonal line of support, and also the horizontal support of 463.67. Pre-market, we are down 0.81%. We are at 480.22. I'd say for us, the resistance today is at 487.37. Next, Ginkgo Bioworks is down 1.41%. It's trying to convert the resistance of 9.34 into a support. Yesterday, we closed at 9.61. If we manage to close above 9.61, we'd confirm this line of resistance as a support. Right now, I'm going to convert it into a support because we are above that in the pre-market session. If we don't confirm this as a support today and we fall down below this, then I think we'll get support at 8.88. Then we have Precision. I bought into Precision because I think that we have already closed above this bull flag, and we have confirmed above this line of support on the upper end of the bull flag. So we have to logically proceed towards a target of 5.93. So I already bought it. It's in a negative or a red in the portfolio that I have. Pre-market, we are down 0.21%, and I'm thinking that we got to move upwards. Our initial resistance could be at 4.92, but once we break out of the resistance of 4.92, I think we should be on the way up. So let me just draw the resistance of 4.92 out here. Yesterday, we pierced that resistance and came down, and I think today we are ready to break out from that. Market sentiment bullish, MACD bullish, momentum above average, plenty of room on the RSI, pretty positive about Precision. Eli Lilly is going to be range bound between a resistance of 1112.34 and a support of 1059.97. That's the range I'm looking at with the regression channel. But market sentiment, which was bearish, is improving. MACD, which was bearish, is improving. Momentum is already above average. I'm thinking there's a very good possibility we break out of this resistance and continue moving upwards. Next, let us look at Ultragenics, a red holding of mine. It's down 0.17 in pre-market sessions. It's going to have a resistance at 34.56. It's already below the resistance of 29.38. As we can see, we had a huge drop. Hi, Uddhav. We had a huge drop. So I think that we are forming a consolidation pattern out here, and I would like to see what happens if we create a bull flag or a bear flag out here. Then I might come in. We had a bull flag and we broke out, and let us see how it proceeds. I'm hesitant to put any patterns out here because market sentiment, which was bearish, is just about stabilizing. MACD, which was bearish, is starting to improve. Momentum, which was below 30%, is getting back into the zone, but none of them are showing clear bullishness. So I'm going to continue to watch the patterns out here. Rocket is another stock that I have with me, where I have the conviction that we have closed above and we are stabilizing. So we have a target of 26.90, and we are moving towards this. There was a doji candle yesterday, but it continues. It's closed above our previous close, and therefore I'm thinking that we are proceeding towards the target. 21.40 is the reading at this point of time in pre-market. We are up 0.56%. I'm really happy to see rocket is moving. It's looking positive to me. So with that said, let me go towards currency. I think we did not do gold in detail. I'll do gold also after we do currency. Let's go into the currency watch list and look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, after showing a whole lot of promise, has kind of fallen back down, and it has converted two of its supports into a resistance, and it's not looking that great right now. So what am I got to say out here? Well, we still have support, ultimate support at 87.443. I think we could end up the day at around 88,769. 88,769 is our initial support. Our subsequent support is 87,529. Market sentiment is bullish, but starting to wean a little bit. MACD is bullish, but tending towards the signal line in a bearish manner. Momentum, which had just gone above average, is now back to average and potentially falling below. If that happens, I think we'll have to look at another line of support. We'll draw another line of support so that I can give you an idea of what I'm looking at out here. So this is the line of support I'm looking at. This is the second line of support. And if we bounce off this support, which is a very good chance that we can do that, then the day would be saved. If not, this is also going to become a resistance, and we then depend on 87,528. So for today, this support happens to be at 88,382.48 to be precise. So that's what we are looking at out there. And then I would like to go to gold. I think let's go on to futures and look at gold. Gold seems to be falling. The last 2 days it has fallen, but I'm still optimistic about gold. The reason being that market sentiment is still bullish. MACD has become bearish, but momentum is still above average. And we have this diagonal line of support from before, which is going to give us support today at around 4,400, and tomorrow that will be a support at around 4,415.114. Right now we are down 0.62%. We are at 4,428.29. So I'm still looking at this as a dollar cost averaging opportunity with a bounce back up again. And the logic behind that in my mind is that we have this tanker situation with Venezuela happening out there. Russia-Ukraine is not yet over. And we have the Greenland talks also going on. So there's a whole lot of volatility. In the midst of all this, we have forgotten about the Middle East issue, the conflict between Israel and Palestine. So all of these things are brewing. And in normal times, I was always looking at China, Taiwan. Right now, in my mind, that's also elevated risk. Any country which wants to do some movements will do it now with the UN in deadlock. So I'm thinking all of that is going to be positive for gold. So I'm long-term bullish on gold. Maybe short-term, we may have a little bit of profit taking or whatever happening. But a lot of gold has been locked into the central bank reserves. And when we get the data release from central banks, I suspect that they would have bought more gold in their reserves and moved out of currencies. So that's my logic. If you guys have a different opinion, please let me know. So with that, I think I would like to finish this session. And Uddhav, if you want any chart that you want me to look at, I'm happy to do that. Otherwise, I would like to end this session, and I'll catch up with you guys again the next one. Bye for now. Okay, guys. Bye.